Hey, good morning, Grady. This is a quick demo video for you for your 2.0/Graphics Shop Starkiller. I really appreciate your patience. I know this has taken me a little bit to do. These are always a bit labor intensive, but I hope that you like the way it came out. So let's go over my desk and take a look at it. Hey, good morning, Grady. We are going to go over the Starkiller that I built for you. Thank you for your patience on this. Building these from scratch is always a bit of a journey. There's a lot of things that need to be done. This entire Saber is a modification, basically. So there's a lot of work done into it, all right? But we're all done now. This is a mixture of a few parts. So it has a Graphics Shop Replica a Graphics Shop Replica shell. That would be this guy right here, and then this piece right here. This is a shell that my good friend Cole Weathers laser etched and sent to me to do a project on. So I used that, and it was very cool to be able to utilize that in a Starkiller. This control box is from Great Lakes Saber Company. So Brent over there on Etsy, he makes some really cool control boxes, and I like using them for Starkiller builds. All right, what do we got? The crystal chamber over here. It's got a real quartz crystal in it, but it does have some vintage pieces from an old camera for the base of the crystal. I can hold it up there and show you a little bit better. And then up top, this brass rod coming down to the crystal, that is a Phil Guinness rod that he machined. And then the piece that it's in that you can't see unless I tilt it up here, that is an old titanium piece that I had for my first run of Raxus Sabers that Sean and I did, as well as these 4 titanium bars. So these all got heat stained titanium. I machined slots for them into this 2.0 core. This is a Graphics 2.0 ribbed core that I machined the last rib off of to make it a bit of a thin neck. All right, so that's what you've got going on here. This does have a shadow foil props lit PCB. Now, although you can unscrew this, you don't want to. Leave this tight. This is what holds the upper piece in that holds your PCB in. All right, so leave this alone. But this right here is your blade retention. So if we unscrew that, you can see it coming out of the blade socket, maybe back in. The camera work there is a little shoddy. There, you can see in there as I unscrew it, right? And then screw it back in. So that's your blade retention screw, so you don't need a tool. This is set up for a 7/8 inch blade. Coming down here again, this is another piece that I used from the Graphics that Cole sent to me. So the clamp piece that I cut into 4 sections, laser etched. I do have some copper tape on here. Sometimes I make these with the copper piece, sometimes I don't, but this one felt like it needed it to me. So I put that on there. What I do first is, that's the first piece I put on there. It's one piece. Then I go back and I put the brass bars over it, so it all looks uniform, and then I weathered it up a little bit. The pommel here is something that I machined in-house. All right, so all machined in-house right there. This is a 2.0 Graphics handle base. And you just unscrew this. It's wide open here for sound, so it sounds really good. All right, this is your chassis. This is printed out of gray carbon fiber. There is your Proffie here with access to your SD card and your micro USB. Will go at it from right here, so you can get to everything from right there. I did put 2 brass rods over the board, just a little something I was trying to play around with, trying to mix it up a little bit. You don't have to take this board up. If you do want to, you can slide these rods out, but you don't have to. All right, there's a kill switch right in front of the board, so this is on the off position, on, back off, but I'll show you how that works here in a second. 28mm Smuggler's Outpost dark side speaker in this. I wanted it to be a little bit heavy on the bass, and then I put a brass rod over, or brass tube over here, and a brass tube over here. There's no wires going through it. I was just trying to mix it up a little bit for some aesthetics. All right, this is a removable battery setup. It just says Solo Sabers in here for me. And then spring side is your negative. So we'll take your battery. You're gonna need an 18650 Keep Power protected cell battery. That's what this is, it just has the sticker off. All right, but you come over here and flip the kill switch. Put this handle on. When you tighten it all the way down, this bar should line up with your control box, or alternatively, this bar will line up with the middle of your crystal chamber. And this saber is very loud. I'm going to turn this light off, because I do have your crystal pulsing when the saber's off. Front is power. And it goes to an unstable because that's what we've got for your blade. So this saber sounds pretty beefy. Auxiliary in the back. Blaster bolts. We will twist off and we'll back up our blade retention screw. So that's this guy right here until it's out of the blade socket. You don't have to take it all the way out. This is my 7/8 inch blade. It is programmed for a full length blade. This is just my test blade. All right, so I'll go ahead and put that in there. Do a sanity check. All right. Go ahead and lock the blade down with this guy so it won't go anywhere. And hit power. Now blaster bolts is just tapping auxiliary. If you want blade lockup, you'll need to hold the auxiliary button down and hit the saber. Your blade lockup right here. To play your soundtrack, do a long press on the power. There you go. Do another long press to turn it off. And then to go to the other sound font, you'll hit auxiliary. So this first font was my font, the Apologize font that my buddy Jesse made me over at Kyberphonic. And the second font I put on for you is the Scrap Tech font that my good friend Keenan over at Kaseth made me for my upcoming Saber run. So we'll just hit auxiliary.
Scrap Tech.
I'll turn this off again. Now on this particular font, I didn't have the crystal doing anything when the Saber is off because I use the same custom blade style for when the Saber's on. This is a blade style made by Brian Connor, no sloppy, so I want them both to be mimicking each other. We'll do that again. They both have that ignition. Auxiliary. Blade lock up. If we put this here, you'll hear a dip in the hum, and you'll see that on your full-size blade. Right there. When you have that on a full-size blade and you hear that dip in the hum, it actually drops the blade down a little bit like it's losing power, and then it shoots back up. It's very cool. So that's what we've got there. Those are the two sound fonts on it for now. You do have a copy of the config file on your SD card. So we'll take the blade out here, put this back in, tighten that down, and then we'll just take off the handle. All right. If you want to leave your battery in there until you need to charge it, we'll turn it on. And we'll flip it off with the kill switch here, and it kills power like it should. All right, and when you want to take your battery out, do it from the positive side by these threads and just pop it out like that. If you want to use a battery wrap on your battery, there is enough room in the battery cradle for you to accommodate that, rather. All right, so we'll just slide this back on, make sure our grips are aligned, and that is basically your 2.0 Graphics Shop Hybrid Etched Starkiller. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will try to get this out in the mail to you first thing Monday. Thank you.